Hey guys, welcome to day 17 of YOUVEMBER. I apologize for my computer being here constantly and me constantly probably looking at it, but if you saw yesterday's video, you knew what I just freaked out about, but okay, focus, Alana. Sorry about the chair squeaking as well. I wanted my computer here so that I knew what exactly I wanted to say and kept track of it. But in today's video, I kind of wanted to talk about the ways that I have been trying to save money lately. I am not a financial advisor. Yeah, that's mainly what I'm going to say. And there are definitely some ways that I could continue to save money, but I am not perfect. No one's perfect. So this is what I do currently. One way that I try to save money is by making a budget each month. And I will say this is something that I have struggled with for a long time, because before now I haven't really had a consistent paycheck or income that I could really rely on fully in order to make a budget out of my income, if that makes sense. So that has been a struggle, and why I wouldn't really make one sometimes before, but now I've been really trying to stick with one now that I do have a paycheck that I can kind of rely on. So, also, sorry if you can hear my robot vacuum. And sometimes I do a better job of actually thinking through my budget than other times. I try my best. I also try to follow it as best as I can. Sometimes I don't do it as well as other times, and also with inflation and everything, it has been harder because groceries are ridiculous, and that is like usually the biggest portion of what I get wrong in my budget. So anyway, to go along with the budget, I do try to not make impulse purchases. I try to think through all of my purchases. I have a wish list on my Notion of the things that I come up with randomly, and I'm like, ooh, that would be nice. But there are times where I'm not the best at this. But overall, I try my best to not make impulse purchases. I really think through my purchases. Yeah. I also try my best not to buy much outside of groceries and other essentials. The other essentials include therapy, health, therapy is a portion of health, but I meant more like the doctor visits and things like that. Gas so that I can get to work and get to grocery stores and things like that. So those are kind of what I consider essentials. Also, when buying groceries, I try to plan out my meals ahead of time. That way I only buy what I need and nothing more. Sometimes there's a sweet treat thrown in there or a savory treat. It just depends on how I'm feeling that week. And every week I plan 1 or 2 meals for dinners, and I eat each of them for about 4 days, depending on what the meal is and things like that, which helps me save money because I am only really buying for those 2 meals and not for like 7 different meals throughout the week, if that makes sense. I also try to have the same breakfast and lunch pretty much every day, which also again helps with the saving money because I don't have to buy a bunch of different things. I buy for that breakfast and that lunch. And for lunch at work, I tend to have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, some fruit, and hopefully a protein, either a dish of cottage cheese, or I will have Greek yogurt depending on what I'm feeling that week. But it saves me money, I'm gonna get kind of into the specifics of numbers, and I may end up putting up actual prices that I've spent on the side somewhere, depending on how much work I want to put myself through. But a jar of peanut butter, a container of jelly, and a loaf of bread costs me about $10, and it lasts about 2 weeks for me, all of those items. And then I will buy a container of the Greek yogurt or cottage cheese, depending on the week, and a fruit of my choice. Usually it's on sale, and that usually costs about $5 to $7 for 1 week. And with that, if I were to do the math based on those numbers, it would be my work lunch would cost me about $2 a day. So if we think about 2 weeks, that's $20. So a whole month would be about $40, $40 to $50, depending on how long a month is, or like how many weeks are in a month. So I feel like that's saving me quite a bit of money right there. I also, if I'm being completely honest, my breakfast has been a bit more expensive lately because I've been having toaster strudel, but breakfast is important to me, and I really like when I actually enjoy my breakfast. But through the savings on groceries, I feel like it's definitely helping me save just in general for the future. Another thing that is definitely helping me save is living at home. I definitely get the best of both worlds with the fact that I have a place to stay and I don't have to pay extra for rent and utilities. I am very thankful to my parents for that. I also do, I'm thankful for my parents, but I also try to save them as much money too while living here. For example, I don't, like, I heat the place because when it's 30 degrees, I don't want to freeze, but I keep it at 67 rather than what would probably be the most comfortable for me. So I try and do that. I definitely save water. I turn off lights. Like, I don't try and live lavishly with all of the electricity and utility kind of stuff, if that makes sense. Even though I am very fortunate to not have to pay for that stuff at this point. With all of that, I also try to, when I receive my check every month, I will try to put about 3/4, 1/2, somewhere in there, into my savings account, so that, into a high yield savings account, so that I am actively saving money. I use Ally for my savings account, and because it is a high yield savings account, I am able to get a good amount of interest every month with the money that is already in there, plus when I add some, it adds to my interest. And to me, it feels like I'm making money off of my money. Anyway, that's about all that I can come up with right now for how I've been saving money lately. I hope this gave you ideas on how to save money for yourself, even if it's just one, or it like got you thinking about how to save money. I am hoping to make, this is a random thing that I'm just telling you about, but I am hoping to make a budget template at some point that I can share with people. I will probably sell it, but it won't be, I was thinking for like $1 or something like that, but once I do, I will try to make a video showing it off. I am not promising that it'll come anytime soon because I have not even started it, but I would like to make one because I want a better one for myself, and I made the one that I have currently, but I think it would be fun to try and create one for other people to use as well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you come back tomorrow for the next day of YOUVEMBER. Bye, guys.
Leaned back in a leather clad seat, darker spirits in your Prada bag.